So when I picked up Noreen, I picked her up as a non-runner. And as non-runners go, we know that there's going to be a plethora of issues to come across. When I got Noreen, I did a bunch of tests to make sure that she was somewhat healthy, and I did actually get her running.
Our dad's been filming almost his whole life. Guess what, guys? Like and subscribe our video. Even give this a like, thumbs up, and hit the bell button.
What I did notice is that there was coolant flowing all over this area after I actually topped it off. Didn't top it off with coolant, I just threw water in there for testing purposes. The system held pressure for the most part, but was leaking fluid right here. This is a new line I just installed. The old line was just very, very old, very soft, and it actually snapped. I will be replacing this bleeder valve at a later date, but as of right now, what I want to do is actually address the issue down here. We're getting a bunch of fluid right down here, and that fluid is coolant, and coolant normally means a popped head gasket. Yummy. So what we're gonna do is jack up Noreen, pull that tin off, and see exactly where that fluid is coming from. I'm pretty certain it is coming from a head gasket. All right. Come take a trip with me. As you can see, Noreen is jacked up pretty high. And we got an oil leak. Appears to be a coolant leak. So I gotta pull this tin off. Tool. The tin that blocks these rocker tubes right here, and it was just a couple of bolts on the manifold and on the chassis, or the actual lower part of the block, and we have an active leak. This is right where our coolant's coming from right here. This line goes to the rear, I believe, heater core. It's a T-union right here. So I might have to replace that line because it looks split. I think we're gonna get up top and start taking off all the accessories and whatnot, and then pull the exhaust system down and get this motor freed up so that I can pull the head off. I believe I have just enough clearance right here to get the head off without dropping the motor. So that's what we're gonna try. This is my very first time working on a Vanagon. I'm very excited and nervous all in one. So let's start taking this stuff apart. Give this a wiggle. Okay, not that much. Sweet. I know what you're thinking. This is a daunting task, especially just on a hunch for a coolant leak. I want to make sure that when we do drive, we don't break down anywhere. I know Vanagons have a reputation for not being very reliable, and that's one thing I want to correct, especially on Noreen. So what I'm going to work on first is removing this airbox system. After the airbox, probably remove the alternator. After the alternator, probably the intake manifold. I don't have an air conditioner, so I don't have to worry about that. So people aren't kidding when they say these Vanagons are super easy to work on. I didn't have a single issue getting a ratchet onto any nut or bolt. So power steering's removed, alternator's removed, air box is removed. Now I'm trying to figure out who's next. I have this coolant line that goes right up and around the system right here. So I'm thinking that's my next plan of attack. Pop this hard line. I guess it's it's a metal line that goes into a soft line at the top part of the coolant. And then probably end up working on removing the intake manifold. Getting attacked by mosquitoes. That was a lot easier than I really expected. So the intake manifold actually comes out in sections, so I didn't have to pull the entire thing off. I'm currently focusing on the passenger side cylinder because that's the one that's currently leaking at this point. So I kind of want to get that wrapped up first and see if we have a continuous leak, and at the same time address this coolant pipe right here, get that squared away. I have a laundry list of things I'd like to replace while I'm already in here, so I'm not going to be able to finish this job today or in the next couple of days. Got the upper pipe taken care of. All I had to do was remove the coolant line there, and he just got kind of slid over. I did have this guy. I have no idea where he goes, so if you know, please give me a shout. But yeah, he was unplugged and hanging out under the manifold, along with this connector also hanging out under the manifold unplugged. Since I got the intake off now, so I have this exhaust manifold here, that one there, and I should be able to then slide this guy out. I won't be able to slide him out just yet. I'll have to unbolt them, pull the rocker cover off, or pull the valve cover off, remove the rockers, and then remove the bolts. But I have access to these 4 head bolts right here, and I should be able to gain access to the ones below. My apologies for taking absolutely way too long on this job. My wife and sister-in-law are making a podcast called The Jointed Chronicles, and they kept pulling me over to help them out with like tech stuff and to also listen to their first trailer. So it's dropping really soon. Go take a listen. But back to the build. I have this really fancy Go Westy exhaust right here, and it's got a lot of hardware to keep it really sturdy, and I can't get these pipes off the head. I'm gonna have to unbolt here and there and there, and basically just drop this entire exhaust system down. So yeah, wasn't expecting it to be that in depth. I was hoping I could loosen up those 2 head bolts and just drop the manifold down, but it's not moving at all. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm not entirely sure how much lighting I have, how much you can see, but I'm getting ripped apart by mosquitoes, and these exhaust bolts are killing me. So I had them sit with some PB Blast, and I was able to get the rear manifold off. Right there, it is soaking. And I have one more bolt right up in here. I don't know if you can see that guy, but I have one more exhaust manifold bolt. I did locate another leak, which is great because we're doing head gaskets anyway. So we have a head gasket leak right there. But I'm gonna call it for tonight. I'm gonna clean up and I'll get back to it tomorrow. I don't want to have to pull the whole motor. I don't know if that was me or the jug. Come on. It's not looking good. I'm not getting anywhere.